The year 1971 witnessed the tumultuous birth of Bangladesh, a nation forged in the crucible of a bloody war. The seeds of this conflict were sown long before, in the fertile ground of cultural and political discord within Pakistan. The Awami League, a political party advocating for Bengali autonomy, won a landslide victory in the 1970 general elections. This victory, a testament to the Bengali population's desire for self-determination, was met with resistance from the ruling elite in West Pakistan. The Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was denied the right to form a government. Instead, the Pakistani military junta launched a brutal crackdown on the Bengali population. Operation Searchlight, as it was infamously called, unleashed a wave of terror and violence upon the people of East Pakistan. Homes were ransacked, villages razed, and innocent civilians, including intellectuals, students, and political activists, were brutally murdered. This brutal repression triggered a mass exodus of refugees into neighboring India. Millions of terrified Bengalis, fleeing persecution and seeking safety, poured across the border. Their plight, a testament to the horrors unfolding in East Pakistan, would galvanize India into action. Operation Searchlight, launched on March 25, 1971, marked a dark chapter in human history. Under the cover of darkness, the Pakistani army, aided by local collaborators, unleashed a reign of terror upon the unarmed Bengali population. The operation's objectives were clear: crush the Bengali independence movement, eliminate its leadership, and instill fear in the hearts of the populace. Universities, considered hotbeds of Bengali nationalism, were targeted with particular ferocity. Students, professors, and intellectuals were rounded up and summarily executed. The streets of Dhaka, once vibrant with life and culture, were transformed into killing fields. The Pakistani army, driven by a toxic mix of ethnic prejudice and political expediency, acted with impunity. The scale of the atrocities committed during Operation Searchlight was staggering. Estimates of the death toll range from hundreds of thousands to 3 million. The systematic targeting of civilians, the widespread use of rape as a weapon of war, and the deliberate destruction of cultural and religious institutions pointed to a calculated campaign of genocide. The unfolding humanitarian crisis in East Pakistan presented India with a moral dilemma. The influx of refugees, fleeing violence and persecution, was placing an immense strain on India's resources. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi recognized that this was not merely a humanitarian crisis, but also a threat to India's security and stability. The plight of the Bengali people resonated deeply within India. Public opinion, fueled by media reports and first-hand accounts from refugees, was overwhelmingly in favor of intervention. Gandhi, however, tread cautiously, aware of the potential international ramifications of a military conflict with Pakistan. India embarked on a diplomatic offensive, seeking international pressure on Pakistan to end the violence and find a political solution. These efforts, however, proved futile as Pakistan, emboldened by support from the United States and China, remained intransigent. As the situation in East Pakistan deteriorated, India's military leadership, under the astute guidance of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, began preparing for the possibility of armed intervention. Manekshaw, a brilliant strategist known for his calm demeanor and sharp intellect, understood that a hasty intervention would be counterproductive. He advocated for a well-planned and timed offensive, ensuring that India had the necessary military and logistical advantage. He also recognized the importance of international support and sought to avoid any actions that could be construed as aggression. Manekshaw's strategy was two-pronged: provide material and logistical support to the Mukti Bahini, the Bengali resistance fighters, and prepare the Indian armed forces for a decisive military campaign. He recognized that the monsoon season, which would render East Pakistan's terrain impassable, was fast approaching. Manekshaw advised patience, arguing that a winter offensive, when the ground would be drier and more conducive to military operations, would be more effective. Section 5, the December 3rd, 1971. Pakistan strikes first. On December 3rd, 1971, Pakistan frustrated by its inability to quell the Bengali resistance and anticipating an Indian intervention, launched a preemptive airstrike on Indian airfields in the northwest. Operation Chengiz Khan, as it was codenamed, was intended to cripple the Indian Air Force and replicate the success of Israel's preemptive strike during the Six-Day War. The Pakistani attack, however, proved to be a strategic blunder. The Indian Air Force, well prepared and dispersed, suffered minimal damage. The element of surprise on which the success of such operations hinges had been lost. The Pakistani attack, far from crippling India, had the opposite effect. It galvanized Indian public opinion and provided Indira Gandhi with the casus belli she needed to order a full-scale military intervention in East Pakistan. The 1971 Indo-Pak War had begun, a war that would forever alter the geopolitical landscape of South Asia. Section 6. India retaliates, establishing air superiority. India's response to Pakistan's preemptive strike was swift and decisive. Within hours of the Pakistani attack, the Indian Air Force launched retaliatory airstrikes against Pakistani air bases and radar installations. The Indian Air Force, equipped with Soviet-supplied MiG-21 fighter jets, quickly gained air superiority over the skies of East Pakistan. Indian pilots, skilled and battle-hardened from previous conflicts, inflicted heavy losses on the Pakistani Air Force. The Indian Navy too played a crucial role in the conflict. The Eastern Naval Command, under the command of Vice Admiral N. Krishnan, effectively blockaded East Pakistan, cutting off its supply lines and preventing any reinforcements from reaching the beleaguered Pakistani forces. The Indian Navy's most daring operation was the attack on Karachi Harbour, Pakistan's main port city. On the night of December 4, 1971, a squadron of Indian missile boats launched a surprise attack, sinking or disabling several Pakistani warships. Section 7. Key battles and victories. The tide turns. On the ground, the Indian Army, advancing on multiple fronts, made rapid progress. The terrain in East Pakistan, crisscrossed by rivers and dense jungles, posed significant challenges. The Indian Army, however, well trained in jungle warfare and supported by the Mukti Bahini, who provided invaluable intelligence and logistical support, overcame these obstacles. The Battle of Hilli, fought in the northern sector of East Pakistan, was one of the most decisive battles of the war. The Indian Army, using a combination of infantry, armor and artillery, captured the strategically important town of Hilli after days of fierce fighting. The fall of Hilli opened the way for the Indian Army to advance towards Dhaka, the capital of East Pakistan. In the Western Theatre, the Indian Army fought a series of fierce battles against Pakistani forces in the deserts of Rajasthan and the plains of Punjab. The Battle of Longawala, fought in the Thar Desert, witnessed extraordinary courage and resilience from a small contingent of Indian soldiers who successfully repelled a much larger Pakistani armoured assault. Section 8. Surrender and its aftermath. A new dawn. On December 16, 1971, just 13 days after the war began, the Pakistani forces in East Pakistan, facing imminent defeat and surrounded by the advancing Indian Army and Mukti Bahini, surrendered unconditionally. The instrument of surrender was signed in Dhaka by Lieutenant General A.K. Niazi, the commander of Pakistani forces in East Pakistan, and Lieutenant General Jagjit Singh Arora, the commander of the Indian Eastern Command. The surrender marked the birth of a new nation, Bangladesh. The war had resulted in the liberation of Bangladesh and the end of Pakistan's political and territorial integrity. Over 90,000 Pakistani soldiers and civilians were taken prisoner of war by India, in a gesture that reflected India's commitment to human rights and international law. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ordered the humane treatment of all prisoners of war. The prisoners were well fed, provided with medical care, and repatriated to Pakistan with dignity. Section 9. Lasting impact. Shaping South Asia's destiny. The 1971 Indo-Pak War had a profound and lasting impact on the geopolitical landscape of South Asia. The creation of Bangladesh fundamentally altered the balance of power in the region. Pakistan, once a formidable military power, was left humbled and divided. The war also had significant implications for India's regional and global standing. India's decisive victory cemented its position as the preeminent power in South Asia. The war also marked the emergence of India as a responsible global power, one that was willing to use its military might to defend its interests and uphold its values. The humane treatment of Pakistani prisoners of war further enhanced India's international reputation. The 1971 war, however, also left behind a legacy of pain and suffering. The scars of war, both physical and emotional, continue to haunt the people of Bangladesh, India and Pakistan. The war serves as a reminder of the human cost of conflict and the